Hello and welcome back to the Conversationist podcast. I'm Charlie Pitson and with me is Joshua Mahoney himself, Joshy boy.
What's up?
And today we're doing Marriage Story.
Woo! Let's talk about divorce.
Yeah, written and directed by Noah Baumbach. Let's get cracking. So Marriage Story. Do you like the bit where he punches the wall? Like how he punches the wall?
I think that bit's a bit too over dramatized and like
Yeah. I mean that's how he punched. He doesn't want to actually break his hand, does he?
But it's very self-indulgent in that part. You can tell he's ripped a conversation straight from his life and put it in the But not in that way. But you can you hear it and you're like, oh, well.
I think that's what makes it like, I don't know. A lot of people, it's been getting a lot of shit on Twitter about the dialogue, and a lot of people say that the dialogue's crap.
But see, I think it's only in that bit that it's kind of crap. I think the rest of it,
yeah, that is referencing that scene as well.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. I think it's only in that scene where they have the massive argument in his apartment.
In his apartment, yeah.
Where it's
he says, "I wish you die," and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
The dialogue struggles a little bit. You can tell that his emotions are getting a bit, are taking a hold of a bit too much when he's writing this stuff.
It just makes me sad because I like the opening bit where it feels like, oh yeah, they love each other, and then it just cuts to them.
Why couldn't we see this film?
I know. I'd rather watch them for a week just doing nice things with their son rather than
exactly
the ugly divorce, which, I mean, it gets really fucking intense.
See, the question I have for you is, I know we've had this conversation already, but whose fault?
Whose fault?
Yeah, whose fault is it that everything goes to shit?
What, the marriage or
I think
the divorce?
I think the divorce, as in, you know how it started off amicably, and then it just spiraled out of control.
Honestly, I'm trying to remember their names. Adam Driver's Charlie. So I mean, that shouldn't be hard to remember. Anyway,
Charlie.
Yeah, I think it's Charlie's fault.
You're only saying that because you can't remember the name of Scarlett Johansson's character, because she's definitely at fault.
No,
she starts it.
Her name's Nicole.
Nicole, that's the
name's
one.
Nicole. I forgot both their names, by the way, and I forgot one who's also the same name as me. So, and we watched this like a few days ago. I don't know how I forgot that. No, it's definitely Charlie's fault, hands down.
Why though?
Okay, she went to Laura Dern, who obviously forgotten her character's name as well. When she went to her, I don't think that started the problem because she was still kind of in charge for a little while without it seeming she is. I think it's
the lawyer.
I think it's the fact that Charlie's stubbornness without leaving New York and then not willing to move to Los Angeles.
I think that's a bit,
and his arrogance of
that's a bit shit.
Claiming that they're clearly a New York family when there's no proof they are a New York family. They just kind of lived in New York for a few years.
But there's also no proof that they are. I mean, there's they
got married in LA and the son was born in LA.
Yeah, but they mention it in the film that because of a couple of things, technically they are an LA family, but if you really thought about it, they were a New York family.
When you watch more of it though, and Nicole kind of, it's mostly at the start. It's mostly it's her first conversation with Laura Dern, where she's telling her about why they've broken up and how it's basically all about him and he gets to do what he does. And you actually see that when he's with his son, of how kind of selfish he is and how any decisions or whatever he wants, if they say they put a film on, it's up to him, or they want to go to food and stuff. And then how he kind of kept her there because it was what he wanted.
No, but I mean in terms of the divorce, yeah. In terms of their relationship deteriorating, yeah, I understand. But I mean, just in terms of who exacerbates things in the divorce, it's definitely her, because they both went to lawyers. They both went to scummy lawyers. He rejected the scummy lawyer, and she took the scummy lawyer.
What's exacerbate mean?
Huh?
What's exacerbate mean?
For fuck's sake.
Needs to make things worse. Oh. No, okay, I agree with that, but
because if she hadn't actually gone with the scummy lawyer, then none of it would have happened, would it? As soon as because he didn't know anything about the lawyers she'd gone to see when he went to go see the first lawyer, and the first lawyer was like out for blood with
I
him.
know, but I'm just gonna go against that and just say, well, if he wasn't such a dick in the relationship and so selfish, then they wouldn't have come to that anyway in the first place. So it's all Charlie's fault. Goodbye.
Right. But they both still love each other.
Yeah, they claim. I mean, with a marriage and stuff like that again, and when you obviously share child.
They had the chance for an amicable breakup or an amicable divorce, and she didn't take it.
Yeah, but isn't it because he's spiteful though?
If she hated him,
she resents him.
I mean,
I don't think she hates him. He hates her, but she just resents him. I'm pretty sure that she doesn't.
He hates her.
He says that he wishes she was dead.
Oh yeah, but that was in that conversation where they were saying shit that they didn't mean.
Yeah, but still, you do say it's like saying, I didn't do this because I was drunk.
Everyone says shit they don't mean in arguments.
Fair enough, but they do also say things they mean.
Which
one? You're telling me you don't know which one? You could be one or the other, really.
Well, it was very clearly a lot because they said afterwards, "I didn't mean that. I'm sorry."
You could have ended the punch in the wall. I didn't mean to do that, my precious wall.
But like they end the argument with him down on his knees crying and apologizing.
Oh yeah, they do
so like
Well, you got me there, Josh. Fine. 1-1. Or many discussions we can have. We can have a divorce. This is what's going to happen this episode.
But also this bit as well is she's not cooperating with the psychiatrist.
Yeah, I know. I'm watching his
and it's frustrating. It's frustrating because it's like he clearly wants, he clearly wants them to sort things out.
This is my 4th time watching this, right?
Yeah. Because look at her, like in the interview with the psychiatrist, she's so horrible.
This is the 4th time watching it. And each time I follow one or the other person, just in their point of view, trying to get myself in their point of view and see, like, okay, is this logical? Because it kind of feels like it's one of those rewatchable films where if you keep doing that, you learn a bit more about each person.
You learn more about their motivations if you focus on them.
If you focus on them. And the first time I watched it, I went with Adam Driver because I wanted to see. It's just kind of what I felt upon the first time because. I don't know.
Because I love Adam Driver.
I do love Adam Driver, yeah.
I think.
But the second time I went with Scarlett Johansson, and then the third time I went with Scarlett Johansson, and now the 4th time I'm going to go with Scarlett Johansson, and I'm just like, because I don't know if it's just me, but I'd be on her side.
Yeah,
and
I guess.
Purely, purely because
in this kind of situations, if I had friends that this was happening to, I'd be annoyed with both of them because I think they're both being crackheads.
Yeah, I really think that. At the same time, no. I just really think Charlie's in the wrong the entire time.
Yeah, I can see that.
Apart from until she goes to the lawyer, and other than that,
I can see that.
So selfish she is, man. Everything's about him, and like he uses Nicole to kind of get him where he needs to go, and she's kind of more of just his person to, talk about ideas with, and then he gets her in the stuff to help her out. He thinks he's helping her out by giving her roles and whatever, when really it's just fueling his ego and his arrogance and his selfishness, where he doesn't realize that she's also a human being too, and that she should be able to do what she wants, but she can't because they share a kid, they're married, and because he's doing this new play and it's going to Broadway and all that kind of stuff, she's kind of trapped. So she kind of has this kind of like realization, holy shit, why am I spending the rest of my life like just doing what he wants to do when I could be doing my thing? I could be acting in films and like living the place where she doesn't even like New York, so she wants to live in LA. It's just that kind of, and she starts to resent him, and then I think it pushes it too far with, and she ends go to the lawyer, and the lawyer then takes control. Yeah. But like because of her mistake of letting going to the lawyer, that's when it kind of exacerbates shit, and then that's when it becomes her fault.
What does exacerbate mean?
But yeah, I just basically explained the story. But I mean, why was she masturbating there? I'm sorry,
yeah, the scene where they walk in on the
walk in
on the babysitter,
and she's just like,
and she's just like doing up her trousers.
Every single time it just catches me. I'm like, what?
She's definitely like, she's definitely wanking.
Yeah, she's going to town. But you haven't seen any other Noah Baumbach films, have you?
I don't think I have. I think we've discussed this already.
I don't think you have. I mean, I would have shown them to you.
Yeah, I don't think we have. I don't think
you might
I
have seen. Right, so he did Kicking and Screaming. You wouldn't have seen that, would you? We've seen The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, Bill Murray, The Squid and the Whale.
No.
Fantastic Mr. Fox. He wrote that.
Yes,
he wrote that with Hans, and they're good friends. Very Francis Ha.
No.
Oh, he also wrote, and I don't think he's proud of this, Madagascar 3.
I mean, he's right not to be proud of it.
Yeah, I wonder what that was for. No, but he's done some cracking films, man. Like, so yeah,
hang on, let me look.
Yeah, have a look at this list now.
No, I haven't seen any of those other ones.
Oh, you did a film called Highball, which you disowned, by the way. This one, it just looks terrible, right? He didn't even put his actual his actual names down.
What names did he put down?
So for directing, he put Ernie Fusco, and then as writer, he used Jesse Carter.
Jesus Christ!
Actually, all three of them who wrote the film credit themselves as Jesse Carter. Is it really that bad? He's also in the film, so how does he get away with that? Like, dude, we knew it was you. He's literally like the main guy. Is that him?
Can you imagine? Just like, how did you know?
How did you know I was in Highball? Oh, it's because your face in it, mate.
Your name's on there as well.
Yeah, so he Noah Baumbach, right? So he was married to Jennifer Jason Leigh. Do you know who she is?
Yes, I
do. You would have
Hang
definitely.
on, show me a face. I know the name and I will know the face.
You will know her.
100%. Yes.
Would you know Hateful Eight?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, so Noah Baumbach and Jennifer Jason Leigh were married, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that is the basis of this film. If you didn't know.
Oh yeah, no, we've spoken about this before, haven't we?
Yeah, and I think she's seen the film as well, and she said she liked it. And I'm just worried about like if that's what I wanted to get upon was if someone you knew or someone you were with in a relationship with wrote a film about your like relationship deteriorating and your eventual divorce, how would you feel about it? I mean, you'd have different feelings compared to if you actually did happen to you because you don't know what it's like being married. But say, like, someone, just imagine you in that scenario. Like, how would you feel about that? Someone creating art over your pain, like, and just unhappiness. And I mean, this is obviously dramatized to the extent of where, like, it obviously could not have been as bad as it is in this. When it's not even that bad. It is an ugly divorce.
Yeah,
but
it's not like.
I mean, there's probably worse cases out there.
Oh, definitely
for sure. But this is obviously a dramatized version. If it wasn't dramatized, I mean, you wouldn't have a movie. But
how would I feel?
Yeah,
I'd be surprised first of all because I would have expected to have been told about it.
Yeah, at least a hint of. By the way, I'm making a film about.
Yeah. Oh, by the way,
like the 30-year marriage we had. I'm going to turn it into a movie.
To be fair, though, I'm surprised. Like, did he ask for a permission before he made it?
I don't know. I can't suppose he did. I mean, when you think about it, there's no indication that it's obvious that it is. I think it's just
because if I were to do something, like
obviously
it's
implied because you know he's divorced, so
yeah.
You can put two and two together. But I can't imagine like there's probably scenarios where things have happened where he obviously alters it, but there's like the kind of setup to the situations is probably exactly the same. Like maybe she handed him subpoena in a similar fashion, like in like the most awkward way possible. I mean, he's probably gone to her and asked her about like I want to say interviewing her, but probably asked her about things that like
that'd be so weird.
Like, is it okay if I include this or
That'd be so weird.
Do you have anything you think you could dramatize this, like this one stupid argument we had? How can I make this? How can I, expand on this and stuff? I don't know. I don't know their relationship, but I just want to know what you think. Would you be really angry, and would you just?
I'd be shocked first of all. I'd be a bit annoyed if I wasn't told about it. But if I was told that it was happening, I'd be like, yeah, sure, whatever.
Sure,
that's
whatever.
Fine.
As long as I can read it
It
first.
could be fucking hilarious. Yeah, as long as I can read it first, that's fine.
This meals are looking really weird today, like really grainy. I know it's on film, but
it was. To be fair, when we watched it through the first time, I thought it was very grainy.
I'm just noticing it now. I can
very
see a lot of
grainy.
grain on his neck, and
Yeah.
certain colours are just kind of green as fuck. And then obviously the white, those
I
pull-out
noticed
shots.
it in the bit, like the first sequence where they showed them before the divorce.
Yeah,
I noticed it a lot there.
I do like that style. It just it feels more
It was more.
I don't know, digital films, especially now with all these RLXs and all these kind of cameras, everything just feels a bit too polished. Like, we watched the Avengers Endgame Blu-ray that, like, maybe a few weeks back or whatever.
Yeah, it felt weird.
After Christmas, it looked too pristine, right? And there's something about when filmmakers use film, and they still use film now, you can get, like, obviously, you can get a nicer kind of finish to it with, obviously, we got 4K and whatnot, and HDR and all this. But film just still looks much better, even if it's grainy like this. Even like when it all, which I think was shot on 16mm, that's kind of got that kind of similar grain to it. But it kind of puts you in that realm of being like, oh, I'm actually watching a film rather than digital. Just feels like it could be off shot of someone's phone, and it just doesn't feel.
Yeah, I get you.
You don't feel as enticed. Apart from, I mean, it works with like the superhero films, but I don't know, watching comedies in digital and they're just poorly shot.
It's strange.
It's just weird, isn't it? Like, this is so beautifully shot. I don't know if this is nominated for best cinematography or not.
I'm not sure it would be though. I think
You think
just
so?
because I don't think it does the simple stuff really well, but I don't think it does anything groundbreaking or crazy. So you'd be like,
I've noticed
"Whoa."
one thing. I think it was actually, I'm not quite sure if it was this film or not, but I'm 100% sure it is now, because obviously the height difference between Scarlett Johansson and Anna Driver.
Oh,
So Anna Driver's like
crazy.
6'2", 6'3", and
Yeah.
she was like, was she 5'5", 5'3"? You say it was 5'3", we were looking at it the other day.
Yeah, I think she's like 5'3".
So I
5'4".
think the argument scene in his apartment, there's certain camera shots where it's angled up at them or down on, so
and it makes him look even taller.
So no, they do. I've noticed it like after the third time round that I think it's purposely done.
Yeah, because
Because there's certain bits of that argument goes so far up and down where one of them is obviously in charge of the argument at one point, and then as they're going back and forth. So whoever's in charge of the argument at that point, when they're when it's doing their dialogue, the camera angles either face up. So if Scarlett Johansson's like in charge, then any shots where it's kind of framed at Adam Driver, they're looking up rather than looking down.
Well, I've noticed.
Or looking down, sorry, rather than looking up, and then it switches, it alters then. So when it just all depends on who's talking and who's. It's weird. No, you'll notice.
I notice it just even watching stuff now, when in the scene where she's talking to the lawyer for the first time, is that she's like it's such a massive sofa, and she's like a tiny, she's like kind of curled up in the middle of it. Or like at the end of it, so kind of like she hardly takes up any space on the sofa and hardly any space in the shot, and it makes her look really small.
This is one long scene, right, where you. I just want to say Laura Dern is incredible. So this wasn't nominated for cinematography in the end.
What was?
So Irishman, Joker, The Lighthouse, 1917, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. This must be quite sad because The Lighthouse wasn't nominated for anything else, and that was a cracking film.
I can see Joker.
You can see Joker winning it.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, though, I think it was quite good. I'm trying to think of a specific time though in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Any of the car shots.
Yeah,
like we mentioned,
yeah, the car shots.
Anything where you're in the back of the car, it makes you feel like back you're in 1990s Tarantino. kind of film.
And then obviously,
Did you see the Brad?
feet
Do you see
on
the
the
Brad
one
Pitt?
screen.
Do you see the Brad Pitt's speech? I think it was at the SAG Awards.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
It was.
Oh yeah, we watched it, didn't we? And it's Tarantino's face at the end.
Tarantino's face in the end is so
He's like,
funny.
oh, Tarantino has separated more women from their shoes than the TSA. Oh my god!
Do you know what I find so funny about?
He's like
that,
Margaret Qualley's feet, Margot Robbie's feet, Uma Thurman's feet. She's not in this flick.
Do you know what I find so funny
he's
about
so
that though is that he continues to do all of these really weird, funny feet shots that are very clearly there.
Yeah.
You know, like because.
But he gets mad that people
and then he gets mad
unleashed his
about
fetish.
Yeah, it's not a secret, bro. Everyone can
Knows,
see
yeah.
it. Like.
This is going to be a new thing now, isn't it? Like, this is going to be the new Robert Pattinson.
Tarantino's feet.
It's always going to be spoken. Like, we're making it a thing, all right? Yeah. Tarantino's feet.
Oh
how are we going to end up getting onto that topic of conversation every single time?
Every week.
It's the same with Robert Pattinson. I mean, like, we can talk about The Lighthouse, Robert Pattinson, Batman. Nothing else has been said about that film.
We can talk about feet shots in the films that we're watching, even if
Yeah.
it's like the tiniest little feet shot. Because there was a foot shot.
We'll call it Foot Fiends.
Foot fiends. There was something in this film where Laura
They
Dern,
have to be dirty ass
where,
feet.
where Laura Dern's getting on the sofa.
Oh, yeah.
At the beginning of this scene,
Yeah.
where they're where she's chatting to Scarlett Johansson. And she like takes her shoes off, and she doesn't have any socks on. She just like sits on the sofa. It's like,
I wonder who directed this scene.
Sounds like our friend,
Mr. Quentin Tarantino. Honestly, if he ever listens to this, or anyone ever gets like hold of this and shows him all, it's never gonna happen. But just saying this on the record, it's just a joke, and we love your films.
Oh my god!
But dude, it's obvious.
Um,
Just make a foot porno next time. That could be his 10th film. Imagine that. Do you know what I mean?
Or we can make a calendar, and it's just foot shots of famous people.
Oh, right. Anyway, like it's going.
Anyway, I think Joker would not be a bad shout for.
I'm gonna tell you for why.
And I'll tell you for why. I can't actually tell you for why. I mean,
You can't really tell me why because we haven't seen all the other films. Like,
true.
I mean, if I was to honestly say, who do you think is going to win Best Picture? If you had to go on a limb and guess, you would have no fucking clue, would you?
No, I wouldn't.
I mean, I could have a guess, and my guess would be 1917. Would be my guess for it, but that's.
See, I still want to see it. I have to see what it looks like first.
Exactly. So that basically, anyway, back to Marriage Story. This is the scene that I was referring to earlier about how like.
Oh, it zooms in.
No, well, that's the
As
cinematography
she's
aspect of
talking,
it.
yeah.
It's what she's explaining about her life and how she's getting really personal.
Mm.
And it's pulling closer to her. It's getting tighter because she's sharing so much right now, and then she's kind of losing now because she's vulnerable. So Laura Dern's gonna go in there, snap her, and then that's how she gets her in the.
Do you know what's cray about this?
She's manipulative.
Is that
it's not that she's spiteful. She's just got manipulated.
I know, but
kind of doing it,
but she wasn't smart enough to see the manipulation coming.
I know.
Adam Driver
and then it goes too far. Yeah,
because Adam Driver's like,
I think
wait a minute, I don't believe any of these things, so I'm not going.
That's why this film is such a 50-50 kind of like who's the worst, who can be the worst character.
It does it very well. I think
that
it's like Civil War.
This was my favorite film of 2019.
Was it?
Yeah,
Fair.
and then it was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Mm.
So I really want this to win the Best Picture. I really want it to win Best Director. I want it to win all the awards. I like it. It's maybe I'm pretentious. I don't care. I fucking love this film. I love Noah Baumbach's films, man. It's incredible.
I think it's really good. I think it's a bit too self-indulgent though.
Yeah, and that's why I love
A
it.
little bit too much. Like,
I love it.
there's a certain level you have to keep at, and he didn't keep at that level.
I've seen worse. Honestly, I've seen
Like he went he broke through the barrier.
It was a threshold, and
yeah.
he just kind
There
of...
was a threshold, and as soon as it got to the argument in his apartment scene, that's when he went past the threshold. Because then it just becomes it's not even like conversation anymore. It's just them shouting obscenities at each other, like.
Oh, I was gonna say the most pretentious fucking thing ever, but I'm gonna say it anyway because now it's ironically funny, right? Oh God, I'm about to say I really like it because it feels real, and like all the dialogue is so real, and it feels like, okay, this is exactly what they said. He must have recorded the conversation, like he knew he was gonna write a film about it or something. So that's how realistic the dialogue sounds, and it's so weird that I get what you mean by self-indulgent, but I really like it because he uses, and this is where the pretentiousness comes in. He uses his pain to make his art, bro. And I think that's why I like it. I think it's I love the self-indulgentness of it. It's just great, and it makes me laugh.
I can't believe you just.
I know. This one's off my film bros.
I get what you mean.
You get what I mean,
and I
right?
I 100% understand.
It's just not for me.
I think he let his emotions control the writing, and then it just got to a point where it was just blabber and didn't make any sense. And like,
isn't that what arguments are, though?
Yeah, but also like, you know, people aren't that articulated in arguments. They don't think of responses that quickly.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
But he is a theatre writer.
It's not like, you know, it's just not. It's not at all. It gets to a point where you're just like, oh, dude, like this argument.
Well,
I feel like it didn't happen.
It does start off quite calm and collective. Even most of the conversations in this kind of start off where they're all articulated and just that's how they speak, and everyone speaks so.
I don't think there's ever a point other than that argument in the apartment where they actually start shouting at each other, because the rest of the time they're at least trying to be nice.
Yeah, but it starts off like the normal conversation, and then as soon as they start shouting and losing their temper, and
but they never
go off the rails, and then that's when they start speaking
a
little bit differently, and then they say things that don't mean that. Yeah, it's such a weird. That is the most divided.
I feel like, but that's what I mean. Is like it's
that's
less
most divided scene of the film.
Where it could be any character shouting that stuff. It might, you know, it's kind of the dialogue is detached from the characters because it's not the character saying it; it's him saying it.
Do you feel like his film's a little bit like Woody Allen-esque? Like you've seen, we watched two Woody Allen films together.
Midnight in Paris.
Oh yeah, that was it, wasn't it?
I think that's the only one we've watched. Yeah.
I mean,
but I get what you mean. Yeah.
It's just got that, like, well, Woody Allen's got those. I mean, I don't want to talk too much about Woody Allen because, you know, he doesn't deserve to be put on this platform. But I'm just saying that if you've seen any of his films, his dialogue and just how his storytelling is so particular and honest with how these characters interact with each other. That the way that they. It was an example of Midnight in Paris when Michael Sheen, it was douchebag character, and what's her name? The one from Mean Girls. I can't remember her name now.
It's really going to annoy me.
Oh, I know her. I can't even remember her character name from Mean Girls. The one who gets hit by a bus. She's in The Notebook.
I don't know her from Mean Girls.
She's in Doctor Strange.
Ah, fuck.
It's gonna bug me. Rachel McAdams. Got it. Before you had your phone out. Didn't type and go, Rachel McAdams. Yeah, where was I going with this? Rachel McAdams. Her character is talking about Owen Wilson's character, saying that, like, you know, saying how fucking stupid he is and how he's never gonna, he's a failure. He does that a lot in his films where, like, the spouse or the partner usually talks down. That's depending on if their relationship is fragile, which it always usually is. Because all his films are the same, where he gets broken up with, or she gets broken up with. They go find themselves in another fucking country. And then, do you know what I mean? It's like the same thing.
Yeah.
This kind of has a similar vibe to his kind of films, but they're less honest with each other.
Yeah, I guess. Although I'm seeing this dialogue now, and I'm like, yeah. Yeah.
Also, dialogue's such a tricky thing as well with these kind of films.
It is a bit
because
very tricky
because
thing,
I know
I know
the mass majority of people who go to watch a film usually just they're there to be entertained, and like a lot of people could say this is not entertaining.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I get you.
It all depends how intrusive you are with other people's lives. Like
Yeah.
I think if you're quite nosy and you like, oh, I wonder how Janine's divorce is going, you'll fucking love this. Like this is this is like the
literally.
golden ticket of films if you're a nosy bastard. I know it's just great, and I
Thank God my life's not like that.
yeah.
Like,
Ooh, wrong.
there was another foot
Because you
shot
don't
there.
have money.
There was another foot shot there, by the way.
Was that whose foot? Was it the mum's?
Yeah, it was the mum's foot when he picked her up.
I wish I had like a ding. Every single time we have a foot.
Ding.
You could put it in post, but
The foot meter.
the foot mean ding 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 ding. We should just watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and just count the toes. Toes alone.
Her sister's only in this part of the film, isn't she? When he gets served.
No, she's in a few things later, isn't she?
Is she?
Yeah, because this is really this is still really early on. This is like they haven't even she's about to hand
This
over
is
the
still
divorce.
like the first 40 minutes.
Yeah, nice spot. Yeah, 37. He's gonna get served now in like the next 2 minutes for Act 1 to officially move into Act 2.
The sister character's an idiot as well.
Yeah, but that's how I would react, man. Like, imagine how
I wouldn't react like that.
Like,
I'd be
imagine.
"Oh, you know."
I couldn't imagine, right? Like, so I've obviously you haven't got a sister, have you?
No.
Right. So I got a sister, and if I was put in her position now, her sister's position, and I had to serve her husband, I think it'd be very fucking awkward, and I'd be making really awkward jokes, and I'd end up putting a costume on like Seth Rogen does in Pineapple Express, and
Also,
just going, "You're served."
I just wouldn't do it. I'd be like, no, I'm not doing this for you.
Yeah, but what if that's the only? Yeah, we go see. This is just like pure cringe.
Yeah, I know.
You're served.
Why
Or-
would you say that? Why would
If
you
you want
say
to go
that? You're
extravagant
served.
and really stupid, if you work in a bar, invite them to that said bar, they get a drink, and then as you hand over the change and the folder, and say you're served without it being awkward because you just served them an alcoholic drink.
Oh,
And that's my friend.
God.
That's how I would do it.
Jesus.
That's
I
because
just wouldn't do
I
it.
already work in a bar. But
I just wouldn't do it.
you
Someone
wouldn't
asked me
help.
to
You
do
wouldn't
it.
help your brother or sister out
No.
like that. You really? No.
It was your own fault for getting in the marriage in the first damn place. Don't
Yeah.
ask me to fix it for you.
What's it they call it? Should have had a prenup, mate.
Yeah, like it's not my fault you're getting divorced, is it? Like,
I swear, I don't know much about divorce. I swear I know more about divorce in America than I do in the UK.
oh, definitely, yeah.
Like, I swear everyone.
Do people even get divorced in the UK?
I don't. Yeah, I think people just stay together until they
People
just
just
hate each
stay
other. I mean,
together all
like,
the time, yeah.
you know, we both work in bars. We see that all the time. You can see a couple coming in, they just don't like each other.
Yeah, exactly.
They just sit there drinking their drinks in silence for 4 hours. Yeah. Like, Americans are just a little bit smarter than us in that
he
way.
drinks his John Smiths.
Yeah, drinks Chardonnay.
A medium glass of Chardonnay.
No, because you don't do small here. Nowhere does small glasses of wine, apparently. Or gin and tonic. Not in a gin glass, though. In a wine glass.
Yeah, oh my God, yeah.
That's the worst. But we're not here to talk about bar, Joes. I don't even know where we were going with that, but
Doesn't matter.
yeah, divorce. We know what one with divorce in America. It's just natural. So if we would say you get divorced here, we don't have no clue how the process works. There's no such thing as divorce in the UK because everyone just stays together.
Do you think there's a record for amount of time in a film that a person is constantly crying for? Because she is literally. I don't think there's a scene in this film where she's not. She doesn't look like she's about to cry.
I feel like we've really picked the wrong film here.
What?
This is called Marriage Stories about a divorce. She's gonna be crying every second.
Oh, I know, but like
He's not gonna cry because
no. But what I'm saying is
he's a
like
man,
literally
man.
every single scene, she's nearly in tears. Like, but you know, it's fucking wild. I mean, no, here she doesn't look like she's gonna be in tears. Even when he's not around.
you don't see him break down other than the argument, do you?
Not really, no, but I think that's just because he's so like he's so stubborn and strong because that's the kind
toxic masculinity as well is involved.
Because that's the kind of.
But he's part of that age group though, isn't he? Where he's still kind of trapped in himself and doesn't let go of his emotions.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I swear he does have a little cry now and again when he's left alone. I
don't remember.
Huh.
I thought he was going to have sex with the mom at this point.
Really?
No.
Come here, G Mama. That's what he calls her, right? G Mama.
G Mama. He's probably the best looking ugly guy.
Yeah. Well, he's just a normal hipster, isn't he?
Like,
he was in the army as well. Nuts, isn't it?
Yeah. That's what I mean. I can't. You kind of expect it just because he's.
I think
he's so.
I'm not gonna lie. He's slowly become one of my favorite actors.
Yeah, same.
I mean, ever since I saw Francis Ha, I swear we watched Francis Ha together.
No.
Black and white film. Greta Gerwig, Mickey Summer.
I don't know. I watched part of.
It's kind of that's the closest we'll ever get to that I can think on the top of my head that isn't a teen movie where they finish school and dealing with coming of age. This is the closest thing I think. Francis Ha is probably the closest thing we'll ever get at this moment in time to a film about our age group.
Oh, right, okay.
They're a little bit older than us. I think they're like 26 or 28 in that film, but the themes in that are very similar to us, and I think she wrote that. Greta Gerwig wrote that with Noah Baumbach, and I think they co-directed it.
Yeah.
But I thought we watched it. I really thought we did.
No, I watched part of What If with you. Is it What If?
What If? Yeah. I was gonna say What If. That was another one that got me into just. He's just hilarious.
He's funny, yeah.
He's really funny.
He's just a naturally funny guy. Like he doesn't need to try to. He has perfect comedic timing.
Because he's kind of the similar character in Francis Ha, but he is literally a New Yorker hipster, and I always thought he was from New York because of that.
Yeah.
Because I always thought What If was set in New York, and then when it says it was Toronto, wasn't it?
Yeah, he looks like
Toronto.
he could be a New Yorker.
He just looks like a New Yorker. I don't know. He has that kind of vibe to him, and then This Is Where I Leave You, another great film. And then he obviously starred in Star Wars, and now he is mega famous.
Pussy.
But
You cut that out.
yeah, so I found I found a quote from Baumbach following the release of the film, and he said that he did show Jennifer Jason Leigh the script, and then he showed her the movie like a while after that, and she liked it a lot.
I'm sure if you didn't like the script, he wouldn't have made the film.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
Because when we were saying earlier, like if that was me, I would have shown them the script, or even put the idea out to them to make sure it was okay before I did anything.
Yeah,
seems like that's what
get them to sign in where it's
like,
okay, so this argument was based on exactly everything we did.
And as long as they say it's okay, it's like, right, we can do whatever we want. That's fine.
But I don't know enough about their relationship, though. About their relationship, where I don't know if they actually had a divorce this bad.
Yeah,
because
they probably didn't.
This goes south so quickly,
especially because these lawyers are horrible as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's why he goes with the other guy. I can't remember his name, but the nice older guy. Yeah, he was great. He was
too soft.
Well, he was fine for a while, and then she was getting worse.
Yeah, exactly.
So he was like, well, I have no fucking choice. I'm going to have to get Ray Liotta back. I mean, this is what Henry Hill's up to now. Do you know what I mean? After the witness protection program, he became a lawyer, and he no longer does cocaine. He's been sober for 35 years. So it'd be 30 years he'd be sober for now.
My God.
If it's based on, it's not based on the same time.
If he couldn't afford to get the first lawyer,
why would he go to him in the first place?
Why did he go to him in the first place?
Maybe he's desperate, isn't he?
Yeah, I guess. True. Do you know what, to be fair, if I was Nicole, I would want to get away from this place because it looks boring as shit.
I don't know. And I'm going to tell you for why.
I'll tell you for why.
There's something about Baumbach, man. He makes New York seem like a livable place.
Yeah, it doesn't look shit.
He makes it so picturesque, and I don't know, he hails it as like a great city, it feels like, because most of his films are set in New York.
Here. There's a lot of sun here.
There's a lot of sun here, yeah. I mean, it's like...
Look how bright it is in there.
And he makes you want to do theatre. when I watch Frances Ha, and she's more of like a ballet dancer in that. But he has like very theatrical types of films, kind of with Wes Anderson has the same kind of thing in his earlier stuff. Obviously, mainly Rushmore and whatnot, but I don't know. He just makes theatre interesting.
Yeah, because it looks all bright and cheerful.
Everyone just looks great, man. Everyone just talks like they're having a whale of a time, and like they totally don't have enough money to pay their rent this month.
Yeah, literally. Look at that guy in the background.
He looks so weird in those clothes. It's because he's so mad. It's not because he's tall. It's because he's still got his like Star Wars weight on.
Yeah, I was gonna say he should be. He should look like Kylo Ren at the minute. But he doesn't.
Yeah, because this is probably filmed like in between and like Rise of Skywalker. Probably shot after Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, which I still haven't seen.
Yeah, I still haven't seen that either. Why have we not seen it?
I don't know. Actually, we should have gone to go see it straight away.
We should have seen a lot of films.
I've been avoiding going on like Twitter and stuff.
You've seen The Last Jedi?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of that one?
Last Jedi. I don't see why it got so much hate.
It's the best looking Star Wars film.
Oh yeah, and it had the best
sound.
It had the best lightsaber fight by a distance in it as well.
Oh yeah, the one between.
I mean, technically, it wasn't a lightsaber fight. It was when Kylo Ren and Rey were fighting the Emperor's guards or the guards, and that was sick.
I like some of the shots between Luke and Kylo Ren as well.
Yeah,
when they meet up, and oh man, it's a good looking film.
I can understand why a lot of people don't like it because it was so like
it was the least Star Wars film. It was at least Star Wars.
There was a lot of stuff in it that was very different from what, from what you'd expect. But that was because a lot of people complained about.
Also, the whole Princess Leia just like not dying through flying through space.
I can't lie. I love that.
I liked it. I
think it was bullshit, but it was great because you never get to see her force powers in the other ones.
I don't think you probably will in the new one either.
Probably
unless
not.
they had planned to do it with that, because they're using obviously footage.
Yeah,
I don't know how they're doing it, man. So even if the story itself isn't great, the fact that they've managed to do that and not confuse anything, that is pretty.
Because it would have been
because that's altering a lot of storytelling there.
It almost would have been better if she would have just died from being exploded out of the
but then that would have been really awkward because then it would have been at the same time.
Yeah, it came out literally it was like a month after she died, wasn't it, or a couple months?
Was it that year? Because she said 2016.
Or did it come out like the year after? I'm not sure.
Didn't you have a 2-year gap? I thought it was a 1-year gap.
I think it was 1 year. It was less than a year between her death and the film coming out. Was it less than a year?
I'll tell you now.
I'll tell you if I wait. Just go on.
Last Jedi, 2017.
But did she die in 2016?
Oh no, she was gonna. They were gonna go and film Rise of the Skywalker. That's when she died. Not doing the film. Always like a year to the day, I think.
I thought she died during. I mean, not was it during filming?
They were about to film Rise of Skywalker, I believe. I think.
Yeah, died 27th December, 2016, and then the film came out.
December 9th, 2017. So she was just, I don't know. I can't think of what it was, but it's not really important now, is it?
Yeah, it came out December 9th.
Yeah.
So it was just less than a year later.
Yeah. So I don't know what she was doing Star Wars related, but
I feel like she might have died during filming, and that's why I thought it would have been.
That's what it would have made sense. Yeah.
Yeah, because then
there wasn't someone else. I think I might be confusing with someone else who actually did die through filming recently, and I can't remember who it was.
I don't know, but I feel like there was a lot of CGI Carrie Fisher in the.
No, they used CGI for Rogue One, and they were going to do CGI for the Rise of Skywalker, and they were going to use stand-ins, but they decided not to because it would just kind of
like deepfake.
Yeah. Like they did with Paul Walker in Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, fair.
7. But they ended up going with using footage that they just kind of was on the cutting room floor, and just I don't know how they did that. And I'm like, regardless of like I was saying earlier, regardless of the outcome of it, I think like that the fact that they've nailed that aspect of it is
visual effects are crazy to me. I will never understand them, but like.
the fact they're not using visual effects to bring it back in the film, they're using unused footage and they're just molding the story around that, it seems, which is quite brave.
I could see that actually, because
so maybe she was meant to have more screen time in Last Jedi doing some Jedi shit that she didn't.
A lot of the story relied on her, and I feel like it wouldn't have gone the same way had she died.
Yeah.
Earlier on in the film, when she does the Force thing.
Yeah.
So
I haven't seen anything from we haven't seen that, so maybe we've probably watched that very soon. That's all I'm trying to say. We should probably watch it.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I want to do a Star Wars episode.
Because then we have the whole saga to look at then, don't we?
Oh, yeah. And the new 4K is coming out at some point, and that's going to be really expensive, so I will not be getting that anytime soon.
Yeah, it would be nice to complete the trilogy, really. Because we're kind of left, me and you, especially because we haven't seen it yet, but we're kind of left in limbo from what happened at the end of the last one.
Oh,
I
honestly,
hope it doesn't start in a completely different place like the other one did.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden, from the end of the first film, they were on the Resistance were on like a planet or something.
Well, yeah, because didn't they leave because they got.
But then at the beginning of the second film, they're suddenly being chased, and it's kind of just like, where did that come from? It would have been nice.
They gotta set you up within the first 10 minutes, Josh. Otherwise, they'll lose an audience.
Get fucked.
Of course, the new Star Wars films follow that 3-act structure.
But it seemed like there was no correlation between the first one and the second one.
Yeah.
Almost. The only bit that kind of carried on a story was Rey's story when she went to go see Luke.
And then the fact that everyone just still exists and turns up in it, yeah.
They're all just in different places. It's like, how the hell did we get here from the end of the first one?
No, it's brilliant. But yeah, Marriage Story. Now we're all, it's so depressing to talk about. I want to keep talking about Star Wars.
Let's talk about divorce instead of spaceships and lasers.
That's the thing, though. Neither of our parents are divorced, so
no.
I mean, it would have been handy if one of us was.
I mean, it would have been sad. It would have been handy, but it would have been sad.
Really sad. I mean, I wouldn't have cared. I would have just told everyone anything, just for some story. But no, So we've never experienced this, and now this is kind of like, I don't know. This makes me never want to get married, for starters.
Yeah, definitely. Because you can tell that they really did like each other, and it's like they're trying so hard, and it just all spirals out of control anyway. That's
the thing. It's always a bit more interesting when there's a kid involved as well. This story would not have worked if the kid didn't exist. If it was just a couple, like it couldn't get made. It's the whole point how the story keeps going. They're trying to fight for the kid. They don't care about each other. Although I feel like he remains unchanged for the entire film until literally the argument.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I empathise with him in this bit.
Yeah. Because obviously, his mum, the kid's mum is way more successful. Nicola's way more successful at this point. I mean, he's...
Yeah, but also, she's spending a lot more time with the kid anyway, and then she denies him going to Halloween with his dad, and that's, the one thing he gets to do with him, and she just takes it away from him.
This film, though, makes me... It reminds me of, there's a lot of the films like it where it's couple. Or a duo or something like that. So I watched The Artist earlier, and it's kind of a similar type of story. Not the actual, emotional story, but just kind of what the gist of the film, where it's about, she gets a bit more successful as he doesn't.
Yeah.
And he gets worse in the divorce. It's almost like you're meant to follow him, not her. It feels like you're meant to follow him. He feels a bit more like the main character because you show more of his emotions in terms of shit happening to him.
Yeah.
Rather than her. Because she's usually the cause of those problems, her and the lawyer and whatnot. But he's the only one who's getting shit on most of the time. So it kind of thinks is he the main character?
I get you, yeah.
Do you get what I mean? Especially as it kicks in when they're both living separately. And they're going ahead with the divorce. It just always feels like, he is definitely the main character because he definitely has more screen time in it.
Oh, definitely.
And obviously, if it's based on Noah Baumbach's life, it's gonna follow him, not her.
Yeah.
But I think she's nominated for leading role, so they are co-leads. But I'm just, as more we watch this again now, I'm noticing that.
I think it's like you said. It's because it was written by a man. It will naturally be a bit if it's a slight
tip
you know,
in the favor of
in his
POV.
direction,
Yeah.
But I do feel sorry for him at points in the film,
Yeah.
especially the Halloween part.
It says that he just can't see through his own arrogance.
But here's my thing:
narcissism.
is that he's
he
very
can't let go about the whole New York ordeal.
He's very selfish here. In Halloween, when they go out for Halloween, he's very selfish. But it's like you can almost understand his motivations here because he wants to spend time with his son.
Yeah.
Like you can see the motivation, but also
he just doesn't know how to do it right
because we're on the outside.
He's forcing
we see
his.
it and we're like, oh shit! Well, it may be what he wants, but it might not be what his son wants.
I think he forgets that he has a son.
Yeah,
and that it's just someone for him to hang out with because he's so lonely. So he doesn't treat his son like a son. Do you know what I mean? He's just awkward and uncomfortable because don't they explain at the start when they're reading the letter when he's reading the letter about how she's more of a mum and that he forgets to make him food.
No, I thought he. Because he said, I thought she says that he's a great dad.
He said no, he's a great dad, yeah, but like he forgets to make him food. He's saying like he's a great cook and he knows how to do all that stuff, and but he does forget about him, and then she ends up having to feed him.
Yeah, I guess.
I think he's not as responsible as he should be with a kid. He's just kind of like, oh, this is just a little kid who hangs out with me. Oh, I gotta look after it. Oh, I didn't have to do that. He's a good dad in some senses, but I think it's just that way. And the fact that if he was a really good dad, he would actually move to LA and not try and just try and get his way all the time.
Yeah.
So he has his problems. It's such a fucking.
But then again, stuff like this, where his son goes to pee, and then he comes out and he goes, "Have you did you flush? Did you wash your hands?" Like stuff like that shows that he's quite a good dad.
I think they do explain it with the opening letters.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
and he's good because of this and all that. But I don't know. His whole thing with New York, man, he needs to let it go. But at the same time,
then again,
imagine
I guess
it's one of those situations where, like, when a relationship just kind of ends because you have separate kind of
because I'd understand
plans.
I understand why he'd be scared about leaving New York because he's leaving his theatre production behind,
and then you got the Broadway.
Yeah, but like he's he doesn't really have any incentive for himself to go to LA.
Exactly. So I think it's because I think he realizes at the end that he's had a few years now where he's get to do what he wants, and now it's Nicole's time. So then
exactly.
And then he realizes then it's always best for what I can't remember the boy's name.
He also gets an offer for a job in LA as well, doesn't he?
He's lecturing at UCLA.
Yeah.
That's what happens at the end. But what's the son called? I can't remember his name. Henry. I think he kind of learns in the end that Henry is priorities over his career, so he's trying to do what's best for him.
Yeah.
But he just can't get there, man. It's so frustrating. It's
but I understand why though, because in this kind of position, you wouldn't, a lot of people would be quite hesitant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's a scary process, especially if you lived in one city your entire life.
Could you do it though?
And all of your life is there.
How would you handle it if you were him? Would you move? Or would you fight for it and fight for New York?
I think with me, wherever my family is where I'd have to go. Whatever's best for my family, I'll do. And I can kind of do that.
So you go to LA?
You know what I mean? I think I would do it, yeah.
And you just find another job?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not saying you can't. I mean, the theatre isn't massive in LA compared to New York.
Oh yeah, of course.
Obviously not.
I think you could
get into screenwriting.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But it scares him because it's something new for him and it's out of his comfort zone. And
maybe he just wants to be a theatre director. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's taking that. I don't know. It's a tough life for them because if they didn't have a kid, it'd be problem solved. They just both live wherever they want, and then
split up.
Can remain friends. It's amicable. But with the kid involved, the kid makes it so much harder because it oh boy, it really makes you not want to get married at all or have kids.
It just makes me want to it makes me think, oh right, I've really got to be sure about who I marry because this is wild to me. If something seems like a bad idea, don't do it.
Or sign a prenup, as we said.
Marrying someone who's in like your plays and stuff like that. One of the actors that
don't shit where you eat.
Exactly.
Nah, that's well, didn't he get her involved? Like, but while they were together, like they got together first.
Yeah, true. Actually,
They do explain on this. It's just that there's so many things to take in. Like, what do I remember this time? Like,
this is a great scene.
When they cut and it's just
where the lawyers are in there with Nicole
the first time,
and Charlie for the first time. It's like it's so cool.
It's just that when they stop and they're like, "Oh yeah, what would you like to eat?" and they're just like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yeah, because they're like proper going at each other's necks.
This has gotten so intense.
But like this is where you realize it's like, geez, they really like made lawyers almost alien in this film.
Yeah,
because it's so weird that they can just be going at each other's necks, and then all of a sudden, it's lunchtime.
Like, and we're still good friends. Have we seen you for bowling on Thursday? What the fuck? Every single time I watch this film, I just fall in love with it even more. It's just great.
Yeah, and watching this through a second time, I realised how much of a weenie this lawyer was. Like,
he's trying a different approach, though.
Because Laura Dern is eating him up in this scene the whole time.
Why do they need lawyers, though? They tried the therapist, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I mean, because they clearly struggle, communicating with each other, because they don't actually get into a full-blown argument.
No, they're pretty good
until like we said, until that big apartment fight scene.
Man, this is why
they're so dedicated to being nice to each other that they never have a proper argument or communicate properly.
Yeah.
So that's why, once it all just explodes, after that, it's like, oh my God, it's a weight off their shoulders. Because he breaks down and starts crying and says, I'm sorry. They just say all the things they wanted to say.
It's so fucking unfortunate, man. It just always has me on edge. And
yeah.
I feel sorry for both of them so much. Like, we keep talking about it, but everyone needs to just watch this film. Like, anything you've heard on Twitter or Facebook or some bullshit like media outlet or whatever.
I think
watch the film.
I think it's harsh to
There's just so many negative criticism.
Yeah, I
think
it's
because
it's
of
harsh
how
to not like it purely for one scene or for one tiny little.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting shit because he punched the wall weird.
I don't think there is. I don't think there's any right way to punch a wall.
I think it's a lot of people getting. Forgetting that characters exist and they're not just the actors.
Yeah,
they're like, oh my God, I can't believe Adam Driver's oh my God, Adam Driver's a racist if he plays like a racist in a film. Do you know what I mean? It's like, no, they're playing a fucking character.
Yeah, that's the point.
Doesn't mean that they have racial intentions, racist intentions to play those characters so they can say certain words. The only person apart from that is Kevin Spacey.
But it's a lot of people not even watching the film and just. On social media especially, just seeing specific scenes that are just people have started saying are bad. And
it's like judging Bohemian Rhapsody for his editing based on that scene. Do you remember those go on Twitter when it came out with the John Reed meeting?
I don't remember that.
Aidan Gillen plays John Reed, and they're like, it bounces back. There's so many fucking cuts. There's a lot of cuts within I think it's like a 5-minute kind of dialogue heavy conversation, but. It almost feels like that they were forced to show a lot of screen time per character because of obviously Brian May and what's the other one called now? Roger Taylor. They were the producers on the film.
Oh yeah.
So they wanted to make sure that everyone had equal enough screen time. So they just popping back and forth. So that received a lot of shit. Bearing in mind, it was very shit. But they were still one best. It's still one best editing at the Oscars for some reason. So
I never saw it.
Yeah, you don't need to.
Yeah.
There's no need. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like bad modern films, but that was just crap.
I think it would just bring up feelings that are already underlying for me that Queen are a bit overrated. But
you are saying a lot of people in the back.
No.
Oh, we got a controversial opinion yet?
No.
Do you say it? Oh,
no. Because
if I kind of have my Heath Ledger Joker one, you got to say what you just said. Say it louder.
Right. Well, see, let me explain myself first. Over Christmas, my entire family got huddled around the computer in the lounge and just started playing playing Queen songs, and just talking about how great they were. And they did it for a good 45 minutes to an hour just talking about Queen. And I've just kind of sat on the sofa the entire time going, guys, have you never listened to any other music in your lives? Is Queen the only thing you've ever listened to? Like,
Yes.
Guys, this is bordering on obsession. How can you be this obsessed with one band? Like... It was like, it wasn't even just like my, the older people. It was like, my younger brother as well.
So what are you saying then, Josh? What?
I think Queen are a bit overrated.
Well, you're the first.
Just a little bit, because because like even if I say they're overrated by a little bit, that still means I think they're really good.
Yeah.
I just think just a little bit overrated. Just a little bit.
Oh,
it's
boy.
a controversial opinion because,
that's controversial. Yeah, well,
people will slate me for it, but
that's like saying you hate Nirvana. Do you know what I mean no one hates
I don't
Nirvana?
know if it's like saying that though. Because to be fair, I've had controversial opinions in the past, like me saying Friends is overrated as a TV show, severely overrated.
Yeah, I mean, well, you can get a pass for that one. That's fair.
Really?
That's fair enough. Yeah.
I just think Ross and Rachel are bottom tier characters, bottom of the barrel.
Yeah. Like Gavin and Stacey.
Like Gavin and Stacey.
In their own
Dislikable
show.
leading
Yes.
characters. They get carried by side characters.
Yeah.
Or maybe not side characters, the other parts of the main cast. Like
Yeah. I mean, I could just watch Joey and Chandler all day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even Phoebe's funny. Like
Phoebe's hilarious.
that's what I mean. Phoebe's hilarious. It's just Ross and Rachel are not funny, and the only reason people ever laughed at anything they ever said is because laugh tracks get played in the background.
Yeah. That's my cue to laugh. Oh my God.
Exactly.
We were on a break. Oh my God, so funny, bro.
But
No,
there's-
I like Friends. I like Friends. I like and hate Friends.
I like
understand
Friends.
the hate, and I just enjoy it.
But see,
'cause-
I don't hate Friends, and I think that's what a lot of people don't understand about my so-called controversial.
Well, that's the
opinions.
thing, isn't it? Like, you say you don't like something as much as something else,
Yeah,
and then
and
people just kind of
automatically
take that to,
people-
oh, you don't like this?
Yeah,
Like,
it's-
no.
Yeah. Oh, you must think it's shit. Then it's like, no, that's not what I said.
Or, like, I mean, you could word it differently, but I usually say if I'm watching something like, oh, this is the worst in this series, and someone goes, oh, you don't like it? I'm like, no, I like it. It's just the worst of the series.
Yeah.
That's saying that the other ones, all the other ones are so superior. There's it's just like so bottom tier that like it's borderline. I don't like it, but it's just bad.
I just think.
Do you mean if you said like, The Phantom Menace is the worst Star Wars film? Does it sound like it sounds like I'm saying that like Star Wars sucks?
Yeah, exactly.
You could just say, oh yeah, my least favorite film. Even whenever you say it, people just think you're saying it in a way.
But see, that's just that's just what people think nowadays, isn't it? What would you say is your controversial film opinion then?
What do you mean? Like one that I think is like overrated?
Something that you think that other people wouldn't agree with if you said. I can't think of any controversial ones. I can only think of controversial TV. TV opinions like.
There's nothing really
like
that I
like
actually. There's
Friends
nothing
is
like I
overrated.
really hate. I would just like dislike.
Mm.
Not usually, or I haven't seen it. So if you haven't seen it, you can't talk about it. You just can't.
Yeah, I think. Oh, I've got another TV one actually. I think Breaking Bad can be very slow and boring.
Have you finished it?
Oh yeah, I finished Breaking
Okay,
Bad.
good. That's fine then.
I've watched Breaking Bad twice. I think it can be very slow and boring though. I'm not saying
I will agree with you, solely on the fact that I've tried rewatching it a lot, and I always get trapped to season 2.
Yeah, I was going to say this because I watched it again through last year. Like I really had to push myself to watch it. And then I started again, I think in November when I can't remember when the film came out.
El Camino, yeah.
Yeah. So I tried to watch through it again, and like you, I got stuck at season 2. I just get to the beginning. I got to the beginning of season 2, and I just couldn't be bothered anymore.
Yeah.
I can't work out.
I think I find it easier to rewatch it. I've rewatched it a few times, and I usually used to rewatch it with my sister.
Yeah.
Because we watched it all the time. I find it easier to rewatch when you're with other people because you could. It's a show that you've seen so many times that you don't care about missing it. You can riff about it and be like, "Holy shit!" You find Easter eggs, or you find new things, or you just end up talking about how fucking sick the show is because
cool
it is a
it
fucking
is,
cracking show. One of the best TV shows that we've been blessed with.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And that's I don't know. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But overrated films, I can't think of anything that I could outright say, oh shit, that is overrated.
I'm trying to think. Have I got
Like I think that I have mentioned this before, but I don't need to explain it. Is I don't think Heath Ledger's Joker is overrated because I like his Joker. A lot of people misconstrued what I say about this.
Yeah.
I don't think his Joker's overrated. I just don't think it's the character for me. It's not what I envisioned it, and that sounds like what like fanboys are like. Oh well, they didn't do the way I wanted it.
Yeah.
But the way they react to it is different, so they sound like they are complaining a bit more. I'm just saying it's not my Joker.
It's not my.
I like a kind of a bit more, not as manic and chaotic, more as just like, well, the same that those qualities, but with the laugh. I want him to be a little bit like bouncy and fun. I like the kind of psychopathic elements Heath Ledger brought in, like that weird like kind of. I don't know. He almost just feels like he's on his own the entire time.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Rather than like, you have no idea who the fuck this person is. He has no real friends. He's just a lone man who just wants to watch the world burn.
I think
it's fucking incredible.
The problem I have with people's takes on Heath Ledger's Joker is that they don't watch they haven't like seen any other performances, or in the case of like Mark Hamill, heard any other performances.
They just jump on a lot
so they kind of just they see The Dark Knight because it's popular, and they automatically start saying this is the best Joker ever without seeing any of the other films that the Joker's in.
Yeah.
So like they form their opinion based on one film. So I think that's the problem with a lot of people who say that stuff about Heath Ledger, because like I can sit there and say Heath Ledger was brilliant. I think he was
Oh, I loved it.
He was amazing. But also, I can sit there and say, well, I've seen Cameron Monaghan in Gotham be really good. But then we also saw Joaquin Phoenix do a really good one as well. Or, Mark Hamill.
I think Heath and Joaquin share the same kind of thing where both films shouldn't have been Batman films.
Oh, I don't know, though, because Heath Ledger's one... The Dark
I know, hear me out
now.
I love like everything about his Joker, but the fact that he's the Joker, I love the character. If you took the Joker makeup off, or even kept Joker makeup on, and it was the same kind of thing that you applied to with Joaquin, just had that and made it a really good Christopher Nolan thriller rather than a Batman.
I guess though, but like because Batman was
he could do what he's doing with his new film Tenet. The one with John David Washington and Robert Pattinson. But like like they can time traveling. It's kind of like it's his take on like a James Bond film, he claims, or that someone else has claimed.
But like Batman's in the Dark Knight so much more.
If the Dark Knight like he did the same thing, he's kind of like, I'm gonna make my Batman detective kind of film, but without the Batman. Like it's just a detective film. I would have been outstanding.
Yeah,
kind of like any character Kevin Spacey plays when he plays like a villain, and he's always like really sneaky and like always one step ahead, like Usual Suspects and shit.
Yeah,
but like they could have gone for a thriller. It's a really good thriller anyway. It's just that I think his character would have worked better if he wasn't portraying such an iconic fucking comic book character like the Joker.
Yeah,
and that's the most controversial fucking opinion that I've got.
Yeah, fair enough. That is pretty controversial.
It is, and I get shit
Batman
for it.
Begins
and
shouldn't be a Batman film.
I don't know. I really like the Scarecrow in that one. Batman Begins.
Oh, not Batman Begins. Dark Knight. I mean,
Dark Knight. Oh yeah.
I think the third one was really good.
Yeah, your favorite one, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it was my favorite one, but I think me and Will agreed that it might be the best one.
Oh,
because the second one is definitely like Dark Knight's iconic. It's amazing.
Yeah,
and it's very nostalgic purely because that was like that was it when it came out. That was the shit. It came out. Like,
do you know why I almost went to see that in the cinema? Now I saw it in the cinema. It came out at the same time as Hellboy 2.
So you went to see Hellboy 2 instead?
I didn't see Hellboy 2. Do you know what I watched?
Go on.
Space Chimps.
Why?
Because, my friend,
you do that to yourself?
I was about 12 years old when those films came out, as were you. So then I was peak of like my early teens where I was hanging out with people older than me. And also there's one other kid who was younger. And we all decided, okay, for one of our friends' 15th birthday, Yeah, he was 15, I was 12. That's weird enough for him. We're like, oh, let's go and watch a film. Let's go watch The Dark Knight. We can all watch it now as Charlie's 12. I just turned 12, right? No, we couldn't, because one of the other ones was fucking 9 years old. Why is a 15-year-old guy hanging out with a 9-year-old? I don't know. But that's what it was. So we had to watch Space Chimps. We had no parents with it. Why was this kid's parents not looking after him? We've lost Josh.
There's a group. So it's a group of.
It was a 15-year-old.
There's a 15-year-old, 12-year-old, and a 9-year-old.
A 12-year-old, a 14-year-old, and a 13-year-old, and a 9-year-old, and an 11-year-old. Basically, so it's basically everyone from 9 to 15, except for 10.
What the fuck?
Like, yeah. So we had to watch Space Chimps. Because the other one would have got in for 12 easily. He looked about 14. Yeah, Space Chimps. And I'm not going to lie to you, it was a cracking film. Space Chimps.
10 out of 10.
So that's my story. That's why I hate Heath Ledger's Joker.
That's why I hate Heath Ledger's
I never get to see it in IMAX.
Because I didn't get to see it in IMAX. I went to go see Space Chimps.
I didn't think it was on IMAX. Yeah, Space Chimps. That's my weird cinema story. Yeah. Have you got anything weird like that? You couldn't watch a film, you're watching something shit. Like Shrek Forever After or something.
There might have been, actually. No, do you know what? There was a film that I went to go see that was awful. It was a film with Keanu Reeves in it.
Oh, don't say that. Oh, is it the
It's the one where he gets buried.
Yes, I was going to say, it's Knock Knock.
Knock Knock.
You like the
I went to go see
Eli Roth film, yeah.
I went to go see Knock Knock with a couple of my mates, and like we made a big deal of going to the cinema that day. So it was like a real, it was a big occasion, and for some reason there were no better films on than Knock Knock. So we went to go see Knock Knock, and it was dreadful.
Is it really that bad?
It was dreadful.
I haven't seen it, but does he die? Spoiler
I think
it
might be implied that he dies. I can't remember.
Because do they leave? I've never seen it. Do they
leave him buried in the ground?
They leave him buried.
What they do is that they send they take his phone and take nudes on his phone and shit, and then send it to the wife and stuff like that. So they fuck up his marriage. So regardless of what happens, when she gets home, she's going to be pissed off at him.
Yeah,
and there's also, I'm pretty sure they murder someone who comes to the house.
Yeah.
I think it's a delivery guy or something, or somebody who comes to help.
Well, you can just turn and be like, oh, yo, these girls had me at knife point, and then they buried me, and then they just did all these things, and then that could be believable. They kind of fucked themselves there, really.
I don't know though, because I think there was a lot of incriminating stuff on there.
Okay.
I think there was some stuff actually happened where
knock knock to FBI mate,
where he got coaxed into stuff because they were sexy girls and coming into.
Was it really that bad though? It didn't look.
It was. Do you know what was hilarious? Is it got to the end of the film and it panned up and he was buried halfway in the ground screaming with his phone going off.
Yeah,
and we all genuinely started laughing.
and look at this predicament right here. I think it's like the record thing. Thing is but when I got in this situation, let me rewind.
But it was so ridiculous. I thought it was comedy at the time. I thought it was meant to be so ridiculous that you found it funny.
Yeah.
But then, so when I came out of the cinema, I was like, yeah, that was pretty funny. I liked that. And then over the next couple of months, I started seeing reviews for it and stuff, and people started telling me about it, and they were like, "Yeah, it was meant to be really scary. It was meant to be an actual horror film,
a psychological thriller."
Yeah, it was and I was like, "Really? Then it was awful."
Knock knock. It was a fucking comedy.
I was like, "Dude, it was dreadful." Then it just didn't elicit the reactions that the director wanted. Is pretty much all it was. We were sat there laughing at the back because it was so ridiculous.
That wasn't Eli Roth film, I think. I swear to God.
I can't remember. But it had
his wife was in it, or Lorena Izzo. I think she's in it. She was in
She was in something we watched recently.
Yeah. Ana de Armas.
What was she in?
She was in Blade Runner 2049. Man. She plays Joy. The kind of AI.
I think Knock Knock was her first film. Her first film in English.
Yeah, it was. Nice.
Imagine that's a hell of a way to come onto the scene.
And she is going to be in No Time to Die as well. The new James Bond film.
Oh. I'm going to go see that then.
Yeah, it looks really good, I'm not going to lie. I think they should, if I'm honest with you, I mean, it makes a lot of money, but James Bond, aren't you bored? Aren't you just bored of him now?
I think they need to
I don't think they need to revamp it.
somehow.
I think they need to just stop with it completely.
Like I said, man, Idris Elba as
Idris Elba, yeah, but he's getting on a bit now.
He is, but at the same time, so was Pierce Brosnan wasn't young when he played.
I mean, none of them are really young, were they? They all look 40.
I'm pretty sure Daniel Craig was like 35, probably. 30.
He's meant to be that age, like middle aged, isn't he?
Yeah. He's meant to be quite like. I mean, that's probably the youngest he ever is, though. Daniel Craig probably.
I haven't seen Spectre. Is that the last one?
Yeah, I've seen Spectre.
Has he retired yet?
I haven't seen Skyfall. I've seen Spectre though.
Oh man, I think I've only ever seen Die Another Day, The World Is Not Enough, Doctor No,
Casino Royale.
I haven't seen Casino. I haven't seen any of the Daniel Craig.
You haven't seen Casino Royale?
No.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of the. I've seen 2 Pierce Brosnans and 1.
Casino
Sean
Royale.
Connery, I think.
Casino Royale's like the best James Bond film.
I know.
It's so.
I played a few games though. I had GoldenEye. I've seen GoldenEye. Yeah, GoldenEye was good.
GoldenEye's good.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen many. Yeah,
but like
I can't get into them. Honestly, they're too cringe.
Shit, bro.
Is
Casino Royale was sick. I think me and Will have agreed this, but it's 100% the best James Bond film of all time, and also like of the year that it came out, it was probably one of the best films.
Yeah, 2006.
Yeah.
See, I know that, but I just don't know anything about the story.
You haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it. Couldn't tell you shit about it. No, but I can tell you who's in it, who directed it, what color pants Daniel Craig was wearing when he filmed certain scenes that I haven't seen.
By the way, we've been talking for about 10 minutes, and in the background has been the
entire fight.
The entire argument, the apartment argument scene, and it goes on for so long, and it just ramps up and up and up and up.
Yeah,
until
it gets
he breaks
nuts,
down on the floor and cries.
Right, so this is what I mean now, right? You would never. I don't think anyone's that sinister.
You'd be like, fuck you, no, fuck you, yeah, fuck you, but
fuck you and your eyebrows.
Yeah, it would be some
which aren't real.
It'd be some stupid stuff.
It would be some stupid shit, but I think anger takes over, and anger just doesn't let you. I mean, the Hulk's a perfect fucking metaphor for anger, dude.
But what I'm saying is, you wouldn't be able.
You haven't
to
got
think.
control of what you.
Yeah, exactly. But
literally.
You wouldn't be able to think though. But this is what I'm saying: is these are all very calculated things they're saying, and you just wouldn't have that kind of composure. I wouldn't have that kind of composure if I'm in this kind of argument. I just wouldn't be able to argue because I'd get lost in my anger, and I would,
yeah,
I'd just end up just being like, "Nah, fuck you, you're a bitch," all this kind of, like, you know.
But do you know what I mean? What I'm trying to say, like the Hulk is a perfect example of. It's a perfect metaphor for anger, where when you get angry, you turn into this beast, and you have no a logical way of thinking, and you do stupid shit.
But
until you calm down, and then you come back to your natural self. Like it's great.
But also, the Hulk is not articulate. He's a big.
Professor Hulk is Rich.
He's a big ball of but he's a big ball of.
He
rage,
is anger personified.
Exactly,
literally.
He's a big ball of rage.
I mean, you can't say you haven't had an argument like this when you've said things you really did not mean to say, that you've kind of held back.
Oh no, I've said things that I didn't mean to say, but also, you know, I've never been able to be this articulate when I'm angry. I'm a pretty good talker in most situations.
That's the thing. Like, if you say these things, you were thinking them at some point. So,
of course. But what I'm saying is a lot of this is very long-winded, and you would not be able to think this up in an argument. It's all very, very clean and very, you know, like, you know, he says something really long and says something, you know, he talks for a good, like, you know, 30, 40 seconds here. That wouldn't happen in an argument. You don't wait for somebody to finish talking. Like, you know what I mean?
He's punched the wall, sorry.
He punched the wall, yeah.
It's the way he, like, runs up to it. It is quite funny. He's had too many starters, I think. No, it is weird. I get what you mean. Like,
you didn't love me as much as I loved you. What the fuck does that mean? Profound, but technically meaningless.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't love me as much. Oh yeah, okay. That old chestnut.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's almost like, you know how, like, they make the kind of situations they make fun of in sitcoms.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, let's get all the cliches out of the way. It's not you, it was me. Like, you know.
That's one thing about this as well. They don't do any kind of. There's nothing cliche about this.
No, but I do think I think there is a couple of things they say that are cliche, where it's just like, I like this though. He's
His breakdown.
he's a very good angry crier, or like ugly crier.
He's ugly crier for sure. Yeah, Kylo Ren when he has that little bitch face.
Yeah, look. He's a very good ugly crier.
I think he's sick of this shit, man. Why can't they just why can't they just work it out? Get it's just.
But like I said, I'm a pretty articulate person. When I'm angry, there is no way you'd catch me saying. There's no way I'd be able to eat that kind of stuff would even come to my mind. It wouldn't. The words wouldn't form quickly enough for me to be able to come out with 40-second monologues. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get
Monologues don't happen in arguments, and they had about 3 or 4 each there.
It's a film. It's dramatized.
I mean, I know it's dramatized, but I think that's why people have criticism for it, because it is very, very dramatized, that bit.
I think it's because the rest of the film feels like it's almost improvised to the point where that is obviously
real,
scripted. Yeah.
It was. It's
So you
very
mean, like,
it's very scripted.
The rest of the film just kind of feels like, oh, like it's just watching them, and then it's kind of like the Joe Swanberg films.
They're having actual conversations.
It's like easy and stuff. It's kind of the stuff. It's the kind of stuff I like watching, man. Like there's some bits of Drinking Buddies like that. If you haven't seen that yet, but I'll get you to watch it. There's some scenes in there which almost do the same thing. But the thing with that is, the scenes the whole film itself was improvised. On like they rehearsed the scenes, so maybe it's too much rehearsals kind of made it feel a bit more like
probably.
But no, man. I like it regardless. It does throw you off a little bit, but
it throws me off because of the rest of the film is so good, and I think that's why people picked up on it. Because if the whole film was like that,
God, it would be a mess.
But then you wouldn't be able to. You wouldn't know any different. You wouldn't be able to differentiate the scene from anything else.
Yeah, true.
But because the rest of the film the conversations and the dialogue is so good, when some key scene comes up like that, especially a key scene like that in the film, it stands out like a sore thumb because it's so much worse written than everything else.
Well, yeah, it's the as I mentioned earlier, we did the Act 1 changes. That's the Act 2 into 3. Exactly. This is where the changes start coming from that argument. It's where they got all their emotion out and
exactly.
And they can now fix. They've had closure. That was their closure, man.
Yeah, exactly.
It was really harsh way of doing it. Like it always is, but
I think
none of them can move on with their lives because they need to get
because they never had an argument.
They never really had.
They were too polite to each other to even argue, and then that's why they bottled everything.
And their relationship just fizzled away after time. Yeah. God.
This is pretty bad. Where she admits to how much alcohol she drinks.
I don't think I like your honesty.
I mean, it's honesty, but then it makes you think, maybe she does have a drinking problem.
She does have a drinking problem. We know this because we see her, but...
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
I don't see any problem with what she explains,
Actually, yeah, she does. Lying. She brings it back a little bit by lying.
Yeah, and then she kind of gets a bit caught out in a lie as well.
Yeah, her eyes are always so pink, aren't they?
Yeah.
It just looks like she's on the
What's
verge
great about this,
you
can see in her eyes that
she's been crying.
She's trying her hardest to lie, and then she's not really good at thinking on her feet right now because she's stressed.
Yeah.
So she's usually, like you said earlier in the film, that she's normally really good at that kind of thing, and she doesn't. She's kind of completely changed in the opposite now, and she's definitely got some anxiety going on right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Mara's story. So yeah, thanks for coming back on again, Josh.
It's a pleasure.
Sick as fuck. We're gonna get we're gonna special guest coming in a few weeks though.
Mm-hmm.
Familiar voice, should I say? And yeah, you know who it is.
Yeah, I know who it is. I'm not gonna say anything.
Yeah. Everyone's gonna know who it is because there's only been a few people who've been on the air. There's only 3 of you.
Yeah, true.
Who will it be?
It's gonna be one of these 2 other people.
It's Josh again. Yeah, no. So you can follow us on Twitter at TCI Podcast, on Facebook as The Conversation Is Podcast, and on Instagram as The Conversation Is Podcast. Go check out. We'll laugh. Give us a follow. We're gonna have some more stuff to put out, and hopefully won't take any more breaks for a while. because of Christmas time, and we work a lot. That's the gist. Yeah, so thanks for listening, and yeah, as always, goodbye.
See you later.